Hi there, welcome to Long Distance Review, and on this week's episode I'm going to look at the new album from The Ghost Inside, which is self-titled. The Ghost Inside are a melodic hardcore metalcore band, and they were formed back in 2004, but really the story around this album is centred around the tragic events that happened to the band in 2015. Anyone who's got a passing interest in rock and metal music will probably know all about it, but it's impossible to review this album without talking about it. The band in 2014 released the album Dear Youth, and they were sort of bubbling under the mainstream, not the mainstream pop charts, but sort of the mainstream of rock press, recognition. They were starting to tour the world internationally, and I think Dear Youth broke the top 100 Billboard albums, and they were getting a lot of recognition and starting to get big. Then on November the 19th, 2015, the band were tragically involved in a bus accident whilst on tour in Europe. The bus crash was so horrific that the drivers involved both lost their lives, and the band suffered life-changing injuries from, I think the drummer was in a coma, and he lost a leg, and all the band had to undergo incredible rehabilitation, and what happened to them was not only physically scarring, but must be mentally scarring, and it's life-changing, basically, life-changing event. The fact that they even could walk again, and the fact they're even alive, is an incredible achievement. The fact that they are performing and recording music is a minor miracle. So here we are in 2020, and the new music from The Ghost Inside's dropped. It's very hard to not be blinded by the story when reviewing this album, because the story is such a big part of what it is. Thankfully for me, the band have tackled this head on, and the theme of the album is entirely about what happened to them and where they're going, basically, how they feel about it and the future ahead of them. And when they released Aftermath as a single back in April, they left no one in any doubt what they were talking about. They used clips from the news about the bus crash in the video, and they made it into this uplifting and positive outlook after a tragedy. So it was in no doubt what they were doing. And I think as a band they need to do this just to have some closure on the event, just to close that chapter in their life. They do not want to be defined by this as a band. They don't want to be known as the band that nearly died for the rest of their career. But if they didn't do this album, if they didn't tackle these subject matters, then there would have been continuing questions for their entire career from the media and things like that about what happened with the bus crash. How did you pick up the instruments after? The album opens up with a short little song called 1333, which is literally the sound of the band picking up their instruments again. You can literally hear Andrew picking up his drumsticks again. And I think that's a really clever little way of opening a new chapter in their career. Vigil's vocals on that is the line he speaks, from the ashes brought back to life, leaves you in no doubt what he's talking about. The song Still Alive follows this, which is its uplifting and pacey metalcore number, which is like a scream to the sky kind of number, with this huge breakdown where Vigil says, "This is the new sound of sacrifice," and then it all just breaks down. It would be a great live number. I'm sure they'll be playing it live. It's followed up by a song called The Outcast, which is a melodic hardcore dream of a song, really. It's got these great dual vocals between Riley and Vigil across the chorus, which works really, really well. And it has this melodic guitar line, which is reminiscent of a band like the Architects. There's nothing new or groundbreaking about the music they're putting on here, really. It's really well done melodic hardcore, but this album is so much more than that. It did get me thinking about a very sort of touchy subject matter that I could come across sounding very cynical about, but I think it needs to be spoken about. I thought, would The Ghost Inside be at this level if it wasn't for the story? Which is a sad thing to think about. We don't really know what would have happened. They could have released a great album and they would have blown up and got massive, but they didn't, and this horrible thing happened to them, this horrible tragedy, and they are now revered, and they're playing Brixton Academy in the UK. That's a 5,000 capacity venue. That band's like, I mean, I saw Danzig there the other year, actually, but he didn't fill it out. I saw Baby Metal there. That's the kind of level, you know, and The Ghost Inside would never have been playing that size venue if it wasn't for this sort of story around it. And it's great that in rock and metal we rally around a band like this and get behind them and think this is incredible, which it is incredible, but I'm just worried that people will just Once the story's gone and got old, they'll drop them, which is a sad thing to think about. The band kind of tackled this subject on the song, which is one of my favourite songs on here, called Pressure Point, which deals in fake sympathy and negativity. I think fake sympathy is a very, very sickening thing. You see it all the time on the internet. You only need to open up YouTube and type in the Ghost Inside Aftermath video reaction, and you'll see people crying at the screen watching the Aftermath video. And I'm not saying that everyone is lying or they're all just doing it for likes and subscribers, but people will be, and it's a sickening thought that there are people like that in the world. And I think the band tackle it on this song with where he has lines like, "Don't pretend that we're in this together. Fuck your fake sympathy, you're just a snake in disguise." And my favourite line on that song is, "Are you really by my side, or do you just want another story to tell?" Which is exactly what I'm trying to get at on here. It's a song about cutting out the negativity in your life after such an event. The production on this album is really good. It's produced by Jeremy McKinnon of A Day to Remember fame. And he's made the band sound huge. When they swing for these big melodies, they hit them really well. And when they are crushingly heavy, they hit that well. They are the most melodic on this album, but they're also very heavy at times. A song like Make or Break is a great example of both sides of that. Vigil's vocals on that one are really on point. The emotions on this album could have been overwhelming for the band. They could have wallowed in them, but the fact that they've turned this tragedy into a positive makes the band sound vibrant and uplifted and unstoppable, really. It's a life-affirming achievement, what they've done, really. I think my favourite song on here is a song called Unseen, which opens up with these more acoustic-y style intro, but it builds into one of the heaviest songs on the record in this sort of dirgy, sludgy sense. It has these great dreamy guitar lines across that, and I like how Vigil sort of ponders with his vocals of Am I Lucky to Be Alive? It's probably the most non-straight-up metalcore song on here, and I think it's better for it. I hope they go down that more progressive route in future. Then there's a song like One Choice, which it straddles the line just about between radio rock and metalcore. It runs a little bit close to sounding like Creed for my liking, which is odd, but it just about works. It's not a terrible song, it's probably the weakest on here, though. Musically, this album is probably just the Ghost Inside getting back on the horse, really. It's the themes and the story behind this that make this album so much more than that, really. The overarching theme of triumph over tragedy, Phoenix rising from the flames, leaves no questions unanswered. It's the band closing a chapter. It's the catharsis and a defiant cry against the incredible barriers and obstacles they've had to overcome. The album ends on a real high note. I like the two-punch at the end of Begin Again and the aforementioned single Aftermath. Begin Again is this punky, pacey number, and then the listener gets left joyous and uplifted by the song Aftermath. Like I say, the emotions on this album could have been overwhelming, not just for the band, but for the listener as well. But because it's handled in such an optimistic manner, the album not forgets the past, but puts a very big full stop on the past and has this incredible optimistic outlook on life into the future, which is a real poignant message and could be really life-affirming for people listening to it, going through hard times. I don't think musically it's the album of the year or anything, but the fact it even exists is just an unbelievable achievement. Let me know what you think of this album, and if you've never checked out Ghost Inside before, go check it out. I think they're a really good band. Musically, this is just an incredible achievement that it even exists. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon with another review.